Hello, everybody. Welcome to this special Cyber Monday webinar. Are you familiar with the Cyber Monday thing, AC?
Oh yeah, I know I did some shopping today.
Awesome. Well, um, Cyber Monday was created recently as a marketing ploy to get us to shop online the Monday after Thanksgiving, right? Because we have Black Friday for offline stuff, and so the online people said, well, why not create a Cyber Monday so we can make money, like we can make extra sales online. So that's how Cyber Monday was created, and and it's perfect because that's what we're talking about today. Today's webinar is called the Marketing Madness webinar, which is all about marketing. And instead of getting people to to buy our DVDs and TVs and whatever else they sell on for Cyber Monday. We'll be talking about how to get sellers and buyers and private lenders to respond to us. And so, welcome to welcome to this webinar. All right, AC, you ready, buddy?
Oh yeah, ready. Let's do it.
Awesome. Okay, well, the way we're gonna do it is we're gonna go through and we'll talk about different ways that we find sellers, buyers, and private lenders, and then you're more than welcome to type in your questions, and we'll answer your questions as we go along here, okay? And um, if we don't get to your questions, while we're going through these things, we'll get to your questions at the end of the webinar. So either way, all right. Okay, so let's first start with talking to sellers. So before we get into any type of uh, examples and stuff, AC, you want to just sort of briefly share with everybody a little bit about your background and how many deals you're currently doing a month, just sort of like a rough estimate, and then what marketing strategies do you find like working really well for you right now?
All right. Yeah. Well, this year we've been doing about 6 to 10 deals a month. Um, uh, most of my deals, come off of all the different marketing I do. So that brings in all the calls and everything. Um, my main part is my favorite thing about this business is marketing. So that's what I've always focused on is how to find sellers and how to market different things. That's kind of my niche and my favorite part of the whole business. I don't really see myself necessarily as I am a real estate investor, but I don't consider myself like most real estate investors where it's mostly about a particular property. I always found it fun to do the marketing, so that's kind of what we're doing. I've done over 250 deals uh, in the past few years in doing real estate, and that's about what I do is as I do the marketing to bring the deals in, and I look at it as a game almost. I like seeing how many phone calls I can get in, how many people I can talk to, and then from there, comes the they turn into deals, which turn into checks.
Got it. Okay, and I guess I know everyone sort of know how important marketing is to their business. But like, I mean, if you take so in our business, there's many different aspects of our business, right? There's there's the systems part to our business, there's the marketing part to our business, there's the negotiations, getting property under contract, getting it sold. Like, you know, what do you think is the part that make all of that work?
Oh, it's definitely the marketing. You can know how all the gears of the business work. You can know all the fundamentals of the game, like you said, the contracts. You know, there's only so many contracts you're going to use in real estate investing and stuff like that. There's only so many ways you can approach a deal. Now, there's lots of them, but they're limited. That's so many. You know, without the leads that the marketing generates, that's really the fuel to your business. You know, that's like you could have a Ferrari outside, but if you don't have any gas for that Ferrari, you're not going anywhere. And the leads that are generated by your marketing and your leads are the fuel that generate whatever vehicle you're driving. And that can be for plumbers, you know, TV repairmen, whatever business you're in, leads and marketing is the key. And I think people really, really underestimate that and kind of overlook it. And they're looking for a secret magic pill that's going to take them to the top of their industry and give them all the answers and everything. And really, it all comes back to marketing. You know, I could show you 50 different ways to do a deal, but you're not going to get one deal done if you don't bring in leads to close those kind of deals.
Right, exactly. And, you know, and yeah, I mean, people come to AC and I all the time, and you know, and say, yeah, you know, I want to get into real estate investing, and you know, yeah, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do that, and I mean, the one thing, you know, or I don't have the money for this, or I don't have the money for, you know, for that, and I mean, the one thing I can say is that, like, marketing doesn't solve all of your problems, but it solves probably 99% of your problems. Because, you know, because when you have leads coming in, okay, when you have leads coming in, you know, those leads turns into deals, and deals turns into money, which you can now use that money to hire whatever you know, hire a coach, hire whoever you need to hire to make that deal work, right? Well, like when I first got started, where I didn't know how to do real estate, what I started doing is I did a lot of bird dogging. So I would brought like leads to an experienced investor and watch how they do the deals, right? And so I get, you know, I actually got free mentoring, right? And yeah, and so when you have the leads, you can bring on more experienced people to work with you. And so marketing is an extremely, extremely important part of this business. And I mean, it's, you know, it's in our business, pretty much marketing is the king, right? So cool. So what, you know, so let's start and get, you know, into what are some of the marketing that's working really well right now in today's market for sellers, AC.
All right.
So, you know, so I guess we can start with like direct mail leads. What are some of the, you know, because direct mail is one of those marketing that's working really well right now, and you know, different market we adjust like who we mail to, right? And so who are we mailing to in today's market, AC, that are, you know, that are very effective?
Right now, the biggest markets that I'm hitting with my direct mail would be probates and absentee owners. Because the probates, you know, they're motivated. They may be fewer and far between, but they're motivated when they are ready to sell, and they don't have any of that personal attachment to the property or to the equity that the property brings with it. And the absentee owners, you're usually able to hit them at a time when they need your help. Well, that's when you hit them, because when we do the marketing to the absentee owners, some of them are landlords that they don't live there and they're renting it out, and then we can turn around and use them to add onto our buyers list. But when you hit that right landlord who's tired, or the person that had to move out of their house because of financial situations, or they bought a different house, and you know, whatever the situation is, you know, they need your help, and you're able to solve their problem at that time.
Right, exactly. And you know, when we're talking about direct mail too, though, we're not even limiting we're not even limiting to absentee owners and probate as well, but we even expand. Like part of direct mail is like mailing out yellow letters to distressed properties as well. So that's sort of combining, driving for dollars with, with direct mail, right? And and that's also working really well in today's market as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was kind of counting them as the absentee owners because that's what we're driving for, is looking for those vacant houses. That's really good for us right now. We've hit a couple of really big ones recently.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's really effective because there's not a lot of investors that are driving for dollars, and especially in neighborhoods that you want to farm in, that once you find a good deal, a lot of people want that deal because it's a hot neighborhood. Driving for dollars is extremely effective in those areas. Driving for dollars was actually how like I made the bulk of my money when I first started. And so when I first started, I did a lot of driving for dollars, and then I hired bird dogs that went out there and drove for dollars and just took pictures, and I pay $3 per picture that they take. Um, and so yeah, so I mean that was extremely profitable for me to do it that way.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, I just tell the bird dogs like where to drive and where to go. All right, cool. So let's look at some of these deals and see how these type of marketing. Oh yeah, another one I forgot to mention too is internet leads. Now, when it comes to internet leads, there's several like subcategories here. You have Craigslist, like posting Craigslist ads and driving those people to your website. It's one form of Craigslist internet leads. And then you have SEO, search engine optimizations, where you rank high on this on Google, for example, or Yahoo or Bing. And then we're also talking about how like the business listings. How when you search for a business in Google, they have these business listings, so being ranking on there, that's part of SEO. And then YouTube marketing is also part of internet leads as well, because you create a like a We Buy Houses video, for example, and you get that rank on Google. That's part of internet leads, and also paying for internet, like paying for ads on Google or on Facebook, pay per click, where people see your ad, they click on it. That's how Google charges you, and then they go to your website and they submit their form. So that's all part of internet leads, and when we go through these sort of case studies of deals, we'll talk about this, and so you can see how these deals, how these, I guess, these different marketing channels actually get converted into deals. Okay. All right, so let's start with Sundrop, AC.
All right. Yeah. This lead actually came off some internet marketing that we were doing, and this lady actually she had a family member living in the property, and she came across our ad online. This one was actually, I believe this was an AdWords lead that came in. So she saw, that's the little ads that are on the side of Google. So when you're looking at Google, there's the middle part with the organic leads, and I think the first couple of top ones are AdWords also. Ours was coming up on the side, like near the top, like 1 through 3 on the side over there. So it was in the top 3, and she clicked on that ad right there, and that's how she found us. And she filled out our form because it shot her over to our website, and she filled out all the information. she was mostly looking to getting out of paying taxes on it and just having it as a burden because she had a family member that was staying there that I don't think they were paying her any rent. I think they were just trying to see how long they could stretch it out. And she was stuck having to pay the taxes on it, having to pay, you know, I'm sure paying any upkeep because I don't think they were helping her with much of anything. And they were just it was becoming a burden. That was the main thing, is it was just becoming a burden to her. So relieving her issue of having to pay the taxes coming up, not having to worry about her family member living in there and maybe doing more damage to the house, because she had already fixed it up kind of nice before, you know, not necessarily to my taste, but she had done some stuff to it that she considered nice. And it was just time for her to get out of it, and we were there to solve her problem when she needed it. And she Googled we buy houses or some term similar to that on Google, and there was our ad on the top 3 over there on the side, and you know, and she filled it out, and we got back to her right away. That was actually a pretty nice house right there too. So it was in the Katy area.
Did she own it free and clear? Did you say?
Yeah, I think she did own that one free and clear. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. If I remember the numbers right, she did own that one free and clear. So all she had was taxes.
Got it. Okay. All right. And then, so what are the numbers on this house?
That one right there, we picked that one up for 52. I believe that one we picked up for 52, and we sold it for 63. The ARV on it was about 100,000, and it didn't need much work. It mostly needed like some paint, some touch-up work here and there, and cleaning up. You know, and it wasn't even that dirty. So it would have made a real nice rental property for very little money into it. I think it might have been even worth like 105, 110 at 105 to 108 probably. But yeah, we picked it up at 52, and we found a landlord buyer that wanted to pick that one up, and they got it at 63. So they got a really good deal on it. We made our $11,000 assignment fee on it, and I think they probably got away with putting less than $3,000 to $5,000 in repairs on that property.
Wow, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, and they matter of fact, when we went by there later, that's the one. It already had a for lease sign in it in the front yard. They were already ready to lease it out.
Yeah, I remember that. All right, so and then the buyer that bought from you, do you know if you guys have is this a repeat buyer for you, or is this the first time you're dealing with them?
This was a first-time buyer from us. We do have buyers that buy multiple deals from us. This one, the lady had been looking at properties we had for sale, and this one she just jumped on because it was real close to where she lived. I think she lives in Katy, so this one was like right off of Barker Cypress and I-10, like right before you get to Katy. So it was perfect rental property for her. She didn't have to go far to check on it. You know, it was in good condition. Wasn't a great big of a deal rehab kind of ways. It was mostly just clean up and everything. So it was an easy deal for her. It was in her area, and she had been watching our deals for a while.
Got it. Okay. So here's a question that came in from Darren. Hi, Tim and AC. If you had to start over again and only had a shoestring budget, what's the first low-cost marketing strategy you would do?
Wow, that's actually a really, really good question. And I was going to mention this a little while ago, and that's good that he brought that up. I'm actually with a guy who I'm working with right now who's on our team and everything. We were testing out, you know, ways to start with very little money to see, you know, what we could do to generate a deal really fast without having to spend a lot of money. And so we came up with the idea. I did this a few years back, and I've done it a couple times with a couple of people I've worked with and a couple of students. We went out after the election and picked up the 8x4 and well, all the big political signs and that were left out there after the election, and we cut them up and used them as bandit signs. And we actually, within 3 weeks, we got a deal under contract. Within 3 weeks after the election, I think we put them out. We got them the night after the election ended. We cut them up that week, and that weekend we went and put them out, put 100 a week out, and within 3 weeks we had a deal under contract, and it's going to turn about a $13,000 profit.
That's awesome.
And that's literally, gas money. We spent like 2 nights, the night after the election and the second night after the election, just driving around, finding as many signs as we could. So that's about the only investment we had into it, was driving around, finding these signs, and bringing them back.
Right. That's an awesome strategy for sure, and I think it's kind of hard to get any like lower cost than that, right?
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
It was something we wanted to test, and we wanted to see if it would really work. And instead of just saying it would work, we wanted to, I did it before a few years ago and hit a deal and made $8,000. And I was telling this guy that, and he's like, "Well, let's do it again. I want to see. Let's test that, and let's see if it really works, and if it's repeatable." And we did it again. And a matter of fact, what we did is we've got a whole bunch of signs, but that was only 3 weeks into it that we got that deal. We just did we cut up the signs, and we ended up getting like 2,300 signs out of all of the, after we cut everything up, it ended up turning into about 2,300 signs.
That's pretty good.
23 weeks of marketing.
Yeah, so if you, let's say if you just say, okay, you're going to put out 100 signs a week, which is, a lot, and you have 23, that's 23 weeks. So that's like almost 6 months worth of marketing for free.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, awesome. So, yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if you turned those 2,300 signs into over $100,000 in wholesale fees this year.
Yeah, that's true, too. We were talking about that, and that's kind of what we were thinking, too, If off of 3 weeks we got a deal that's probably going to turn 13,000, and we've got, like I said, 20 more weeks to go.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and and another, so bandit signs, bandit signs is a great, low shoestring budget marketing, especially when you get those signs for free, from the past the election. And you might wonder, it's like, well, the elections is already over. How can I get those signs? There are recycling companies around town that you can contact, because a lot of people after the election, instead of throwing those signs away, they turn them over to recycling centers. You might want to go there and ask them to give it to you. Yeah, but there's also a lot of like builder signs that has fallen off. So you go to areas where the builders are actively marketing. A lot of times, their signs get blown off and nobody picking it up. So you can pick up those signs too.
You'd be surprised how many signs are. I was driving around the other day. I wasn't even looking for signs. I was with my wife somewhere, and I saw like 10 to 15 of those big 8-foot by 4-foot political signs still up and out there. So they're out there, and off of we're getting like 16 signs out of one of those 8x4s. So 10 of those 8x4s will turn into 160 signs for you.
Got it. And then when you're cutting them, what size are you cutting them into?
We started out with 18 by 24, and then we went down to 24 by 12, so we could get more out of it. And that was it was actually a really good size. It was easier to handle, so we could just have places to put them for one, and be able to maneuver them whenever. Because I was showing him how to go and hang them up, So he has a truck. So we put him in the back of the truck, and we just jump out. I showed him how to, just set him in the back, and he could grab them and maneuver them. With the 18 by 24s, they were, that's the standard size that most people are using, but we got the message on there really clearly, and it was easier to handle those 24 by 12s.
Got it. Okay, that's good. All right. So yeah. So besides, the to answer your question there, Dan, besides the signs that you can do, there's also Craigslist ads that you can post as well. We talked about internet leads earlier, and yeah, I mean, we've gotten deals from people responding to Craigslist ads, and I get leads all the time, because we post ads with our website on it, so people can just click on the ads, goes to our website, fill out the form, and of course Craigslist ads are free too. They're not as effective as the signs because there's more competition on Craigslist versus the signs. You have very little competition, and you get more exposure of all of the people that are driving to work and home from work and stuff like that can see your signs. But yeah, Craigslist is a easy, simple way to do it. Now, the thing with Craigslist is because there are a lot of competition, that you do have to post a lot of ads every day to make sure that your ad stays on top. Okay. And then another very low cost marketing that you can do is also driving for dollars. So pick a neighborhood, either a neighborhood that you're currently living in or a neighborhood near you, where it's where it's bread and butter homes, kind of starter homes or landlord type of properties. Those are great neighborhoods to drive. And I know that AC found some neighborhoods much higher end than that, like in redevelopment neighborhoods where the builders are tearing down old houses and building new ones. So that transitional neighborhood, those are also great neighborhoods. Those builders will pay, will pay pretty good money for those houses. So yeah. So I mean, like AC, when just so the people know, like, so when you do those driving for dollars and you get the addresses of those vacant houses, what do you do with them?
We send yellow letters to the vacant to the owners. We track them down through HCAD or white pages, and we'll actually send the owners a letter. And we pretty much just send a simple yellow letter saying, look, I'm interested in buying your property at this such and such address. Give me a call back if you're interested in selling. And if they call back, it's usually because they're interested in selling. And it's vacant houses that we're looking for, very, very distressed. So it'll either be an owner that doesn't live there and the house is just empty, or it could be a landlord whose property, just hasn't been rented out and hasn't been well taken care of.
Right, exactly. All right. Here, Chad has a question here. Hello, guys. When you have a deal where there is a tenant in the property, who is responsible for evicting the tenants?
Well, with us, usually we will, clarify with the tenant. We try to get the tenants to leave before the closing. And usually when we get a deal under contract and we know there's a tenant in there, we start letting them know right away, like say it's a landlord who has a tenant in there and we're buying the property from the landlord. We let the landlord know, hey, we need to start, going through the process of giving them 30 days notice so that they can move out. Do they have a lease? Most of the time, when we've dealt with them, they don't have a lease. If they do have a lease, sometimes we've offered them a couple $100, like $500 to, if the deal's good enough and we're going to make a nice enough assignment fee, $500, $1,000 to help them move to another place. that's one way to get them to move out if they're in a lease. Because if they're in a lease, like technically you're supposed to honor it. But to avoid that, you can tell them, hey, I'll give you $500, $1,000, and that'll help them want to get out on their own. But that's usually our last resort. If we can, we have the landlord start dealing with the tenant like one-on-one on a friendly basis, and just kind of let them know, hey, I've come into a situation where I'm having to get rid of the property. I'm sorry, but can you be out in 30 days? And usually if we give them 30 days, we've had no problem with them getting out, and we just stay on top of the landlord. Like we call them, we make sure that they're staying in contact with the tenant and kind of staying up to date on the tenant. When are you going? Have you found an apartment? Do you need any help? Just kind of keeping a touch, on everything the whole way through.
Right. And, just to add to what AC is saying, I had a property that the tenant was just not willing to cooperate with the landlord, and the tenant hasn't been paying for a long time. And that was the reason why the landlord wanted to sell the house, because she didn't get paid from it, and she tried to evict this tenant, and this tenant would hire an attorney to fight the eviction, and so she was like dealing with all of that. And so I agreed to buy the property from her with the tenant there. Like I told the landlord, it's like, look, okay, we'll deal with the tenant. You just sell us, the house. So what I did was went to the house and offered the tenant, it's like, look, I'm buying the house. I can evict you out, or I can give you, and you get nothing for it, or I can give you $500 now in exchange for your keys, and you move out. And that's what they did. They moved out, And yeah, and that's the cool thing about our business, and that's how we make our money. It's like solving problems like that landlords can't solve on their own. All right, so let's move to deal number 2 here on Spring Grove. Tell us about this property, AC.
This deal right here was a probate property. And like I said, these deals are fewer and far between, but they turn into some really good assignment fees. And you're dealing with somebody who usually inherits a property that doesn't have any emotional attachment or attachment to the equity. And this was a really rare case that it was the wife of the man who passed away. And we sent the letter because we didn't know it was the wife. It was a guy's name, and it was in a different area of town from where the property was and from where the person lived. So we didn't think there was any connection there. But it turned out she just had somebody else being the executor for her. But in her situation, she had lived in the house. She was married to her husband who was paying the payments on it, and they did have some attachment to the equity. Her biggest thing was she had an issue of wanting to move to Corpus Christi. She wanted to be, that's where her family was. Now that her husband passed away, she really didn't have anybody that she could rely on. She was like 82 years old. She just didn't have anybody here to lean on, and she needed us to solve a problem for her, which was getting her some cash right away so she could go to Corpus Christi. And that was going to be her retirement money. The money that she got from this property was or a big chunk of her retirement money. They had some money, but not a lot. And this house right here was worth about $85,000-$90,000. It was in a good rental neighborhood. Really good looking, as you can tell from the picture there. It was in really, really good shape. And we told her we could get her $60,000. Well, she was pretty firm. She knew what she wanted. Of course, we wanted to get a little bit better than that. It was worth about $85,000-$90,000. It really didn't need anything but some cleanup and maybe changing the carpet in a couple of areas. Other than that, it really didn't need a lot of work. It has a really nice pool in the backyard. So she was pretty set on what she wanted. She knew her house was in good shape. So she was standing firm at $60,000. And her key point with us was how fast can you take care of this for me? So in this situation, that's where we came in to solve her problem, was being able to, I think we got everything done in 3 weeks from the time we got it under contract to getting her cash so she could go to Corpus Christi. And a good landlord buyer bought it. This was also their first purchase from us. They had tried to buy other properties from us, but we had accidentally sold them too fast, so they didn't get a chance. But they knew it was a good area. They knew it was a good deal. And on that one, we turned around and just sold it for $68,000. So we made a quick $8,000 profit. We were able to get the woman, from the time we opened title to the time she walked out of the title company with her check, was about 3 weeks. And that was her main concern, was, I need this money to be able to move.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. And yeah, I mean, situations like that, like you said, happens a lot with probates. Now, where do you get your probate leads or lists?
We get them from the actual courthouse, the Harris County Courthouse.
Okay. So, like, do you send somebody down to the courthouse, or do you do all that search online, or?
Yeah, when I started out a few years, about 8 years ago, I was going down to the courthouse and actually pulling the files myself, and I met up with a probate attorney that was down there, and I was telling him what I was doing. He was asking me what I was doing down there, and we just kind of struck up a conversation, and I told him, and he's like, you can do that online, right? It's all online. And I was like, no way. And he kind of told me how to find the website and everything, and from then on we did it online. But I didn't even know they had an online system to be able to find out all that information. I was going down there every week.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, and yeah, for those of you who are not in Houston, yeah, check with your county clerk's office. Call them and ask them, like, where can I look at probates, cases, and they'll tell you whether you have to come in. Probably in like small cities, small town or something, you might have to go to the courthouse. But in most all like major cities, it's all online nowadays. And so yeah, check with your county clerk's office. They'll be able to. They're the ones that will be able to give you that answer. Okay, and if they don't have it, there are list brokers that sells those kind of lists as well. So you can call some list brokers to find that out as well. All right, let's move to deal number 3. Okay, so tell us about this East 34th Street.
Yeah, this one was actually in a transitional neighborhood. This is the one that I wouldn't say it's necessarily in a hood neighborhood. It was definitely not an upper class neighborhood. It was more transitional, a little bit lower income. It was right next to a really nice neighborhood, though, a really high-end neighborhood. It was in one of those spots where you go 2 blocks over and you have $500,000 properties, and then 2 blocks the other direction you have this kind of house. That we picked this one up for $20,000 and sold it for $29,000. So it was probably worth about 65, 70, or 60, 65, somewhere in between that area right there. It wasn't a very high-end neighborhood or anything like that. And this one actually came off of internet marketing too. One of the guys we work with, he does the AdWords and stuff, and I believe that's where this one came from too. It's or SEO. It might have been SEO, but also off the internet, and they find it leads them to the website. They fill out the information. This one actually had someone living in it, and this was a tenant that our buyer decided that they could stay there until the closing or whatever. So they stayed there till right up until the closing, and then the guy who bought it from us was going to, clean it up and paint it and fix it a little bit. So they had to move out, and then he's going to turn around and rent it out for probably about $700 a month. So he picked it up from us for $29,000 cash, and he's going to turn around and rent it out for $700 a month. And this neighborhood has no homeowners association fees, nothing like that. Like I said, it was a really transitional neighborhood, lower priced houses like that, but it was right next to a really nice neighborhood, and it's probably going to be coming up in value pretty rapidly in the next few years here.
That's pretty sweet though. Still, I mean, 29,000 and rent for $750 a month. That's a pretty sweet deal.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's one of the bread and butter houses right there.
Okay. And how much did you guys get it under contract for?
20. That one we got under contract for 20,000.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, it's just that's pretty good, you know, for a little house like that.
Yeah, I think we sold that one like in 30 minutes too, something like 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, I noticed that these little homes are selling really fast right now. I don't know if it's always been that way or not, but I mean, it seems like they sell pretty fast because people can just pay cash for them, and then turn around and selling it on a financing or turn around and renting it.
Yeah, that's a really big thing right now. A lot of our investors are actually holding on to them and using them as rental properties because, we just came out of a really big dip in the market for a while there, and right now is the time to buy. I mean, I haven't seen prices on houses like this in a long time. Even in nicer neighborhoods, you're able to pick up some stuff at good prices. So these lower ones, they're going even cheaper than they were before. So somebody, like you said, you got mom and pop kind of people that want to get into investing. They got $30,000 that they've were saving or had in the stock market, and they're like, man, I'm not getting a return in the stock market. They pull that cash out and they use it or use their IRAs or something like that to buy an investment property. This is perfect for them because it doesn't take a whole lot of money, and they're already seeing how the returns are going to come back. 700, $750 a month on a $29,000 investment. I mean, your investment's going to be paid off in no time, less than 5 years.
Right. No kidding. Yep. All right. Let's go to the next deal. Okay. Naughty Oaks. Tell us about this deal.
This one was a really good one. I believe this was an absentee owner. And this one.
Could you explain for people, in case the people that don't know what an absentee owner is, real quick?
Okay, yeah. Absentee owners are just properties that the owner owns the property but doesn't live in it. So they have separate addresses. Like if you ever go on HCAD, you'll see, if you look up a property and you'll see where the property address is, 123 Main Street. And in the owner's information, it has an address somewhere else other than that property. So that usually means that they either moved out of that house or it was a rental property or some situation like that. It just means that they own the property but don't live in it, which usually means there's a little more motivation there for them to sell it, especially if you find it and it's vacant. Because if it's vacant and they're living in a different house, their motivation goes up because they have a house that they're liable for, that they're paying taxes on, so it's usually a way to find out if somebody's, if you find a vacant house like that, it's usually a sign of some high motivation.
All right, exactly. Yeah, so, okay, so this is an absentee owner that you got, and so you did you mail them a postcard or yellow letter in this one? Do you know?
This one was, I believe, a letter, and they just didn't want to deal with it no more. They called us back, didn't want to deal with it, wanted to be out of it like right away. They just they had other issues in their life. They just wanted to be done. That was their main thing was, I don't want to deal with this property no more. I don't want to have to pay anything on this property. It was mostly like a lot of cleanup and stuff. It was really a nice looking little house in a nice neighborhood, rental neighborhood. The houses weren't highly priced there either. They were probably about 85,000, 90,000. I think this one right here wasn't worth more than 95,000, and we picked it up at a really, really good deal considering the shape that it was in. That's how bad they wanted to get out of it. We were able to solve their problem and get it done fast, and they let it go to us for 36,000. And we were able to, we sold this one like in a day, and we sold it for 50,000. So we made like a $14,000 assignment in a day on that one. And the person who bought it from us was really excited because they're savvy investors. They know exactly what was that this was a good deal because for one, the buyer was a real estate agent, so she understands the market. She knew it was a good deal, so it's not like it was somebody who didn't understand what was going on in real estate and just on a whim tried to buy a house. They knew what they got. And two, she's bought multiple properties from us. So she knows the game and she knows what's going on with real estate, and she knew what she was getting. And for $50,000 to be able to pick up a house that's worth, 85 to 95,000, and that really didn't need a lot of work. I think maybe they did a little touch-up paint, and that was about it because it was a really clean-looking little house.
Right. Okay. Cool. Okay. So, she's planning to rent this house out. Is that correct? Keeping this as a rental.
I think she might be even turning it around to flip it. She could rent it out really easy considering they were in for a low amount, but I think she might be flipping this one and trying to make that $20,000 or $30,000 spread right there.
Got it. Okay. Awesome.
But considering she did the work and had it ready to go within about 2 weeks to a month, would be a really good turnaround for her.
Right. All right, let's go to the next deal here. All right. How about this property, Richly?
Yeah, this one is actually one of my favorite. This is on the videos. This is the one. This is the house that was no longer there when we went back to shoot the videos. And as you can see, the house wasn't in really bad shape. It could have been rehab. You rehab that house right there, and you're going to sell it for $350,000. Probably with putting about 50,000 into the rehab. But as you know, this neighborhood right here is one of those neighborhoods where they're doing a lot of building, and they're all that new construction it's going for top dollar right now. The new constructions are going from anywhere from $400,000 to $600,000. So it was the builder who got it. It was in their best interest to tear it down, and that's what they did. So when we went back, we were just looking at a pile of dirt with some wood on it, but this is one of my favorite deals because we turned this one in 8 minutes. We got it under contract on a Wednesday night around 6 or 7 o'clock p.m. at night when they finally signed the contract and send it back to us. And at 9 in the morning is when our blasts usually go out. We blasted it out at 9 in the morning to our buyers and had it sold in 8 minutes. And this particular house right here, we got under contract for $110,000, and we had a buyer for $149,000 in 8 minutes. So it went really fast for a really nice profit. And this one was from actually Driving for Dollars. This was a Driving for Dollars house right here.
That's awesome. Yeah. And looking at the picture now and looking at the lot, they did a pretty good job in cleaning it up, like clearing out the lot.
The driveway was even gone.
Yeah, the driveway was gone. Like the trees were gone too.
Yeah, the trees were gone, driveway was gone. He plans on putting a really nice size house on there, probably about 3,500, 4,000 square feet.
Gotcha. That's sweet. So 8 minutes, and there's like a 30. Is that the $39,000 assignment fee?
Yeah, that's when we did a $39,000 assignment fee in 8 minutes. And Anna, who does our sales, she was getting on to me for that one too, because she was in about an hour. We had several offers on this property right here, and the highest one was for $200,000, which would have brought us a $90,000 assignment fee. And the buyer was like, come on, has he brought in the earnest money? Has he signed the contract yet? And I was like, no, not technically, but I gave him till a certain time to come in and do it, and he still had some time left, and he came in on time. But we could have made more on it, but like I said when we were out at the property, it's more important to keep my word than it was to make that extra money and have somebody even feel like they got the short end of the stick, after I had already agreed verbally to it.
Right. Gotcha. All right.
Plus,
Awesome.
I knew the guy. I knew the guy. He was a builder. I've known him for a while. He's a really good guy. I know he's going to do the right thing with I know he's going to build a really nice property there, and help that value come up even more in that neighborhood.
Right. Got it. All right. Awesome. So now let's move over to to buyers here, because we talked a lot about buyers, and so let's talk about the different ways that we find buyers. I guess I'll let you start, AC. Like, what are some of the ways that you build up your buyers list and find buyers?
One of the ways that's easy to start building your buyers list is internet. Craigslist, placing ads there. If you have a website that can catch the buyer's information so that you can put them on a list and find out more about what they're looking for, that's a really good, inexpensive way to start. It doesn't take anything to place ads on Craigslist, and you can start building your buyer's list that way. If you're starting with a shoestring budget, just like with the sellers, placing ads on Craigslist and stuff, this is a really inexpensive way to start building your buyer's list, and a great way to start, and also the bandit signs. I like to put out, like, even if a house is sold, I'll put out like 10, 20 bandit signs, or I did in the beginning. This is the way I built my list up, is putting out 10 or 20 bandit signs saying, cheap house for sale, worth 100,000, selling for 45, must sell, and then having them call. And even if the property sold already, I would leave the signs out there. Like, just because the property sold doesn't mean I was going to run out there and get my signs, because those signs brought callers that were interested in properties. So, and it looks even better, when somebody calls in and says, hey, what's up with that property you have that sign for? And you're like, oh man, that one's sold already. It just, it builds the commodity of being on your list. They see more of a value in it. So, and then plus you're able to get more people to put on your list there.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so, yeah, definitely, and same thing with the Craigslist ads. Whenever you sell the house, you can continue to run that ad and just, continue to build your buyers list that way. And even, even if, like, before let's say you don't have any deals yet, right? What you can also do is you can find other investors in town that have properties for sale, and ask them if you can help them market it, and and then you can post ads for their houses for sale, and build your buyers list that way as well. And yeah, so there's definitely many ways you can find buyers, and you can get really creative with that. In today's market, buyers are actually very easy to find now. They're coming out because of the prices are low enough. They're coming out and they're actively looking for deals, actively looking for houses, and so they're they are the part that is much easier to find now than it was, say, a year ago or 2 years ago. And then, direct mail is also another great way to find these buyers as well. So you can buy a list of investors that have bought houses for cash, in the areas that you farm in or around around town, and sending a letter to them, say, hey, I noticed you bought a house on 123 Main Street. I have another one down the street, in the same neighborhood, that I'll sell it to you. So if you have a house and you do a mailing campaign like within about a mile radius of your house to all of the buyers that have bought houses for cash, I mean, those are great cash buyers, and they always like to buy other houses that near the ones that they bought, right? Especially if they're keeping as rental. And so yeah, that's another great strategy. Another great strategy that I didn't put on here would be the MLS as well. You can have your agent, or if you have access to MLS, you can look for all of the REOs that was sold for cash, and so now you can see all of who are all the cash buyers that are buying foreclosures, and and then you can either find the name and phone number and contact them, or contact the agent. Sometimes the agent that bought the house is also the buyer too. Like the buyer's agent is also the actual buyer themselves. So that makes it easy also to find their phone number and just call them. That'll be a pretty quick and easy way to to find buyers also.
That's actually a really good point. Is if you can find these people that are buying houses actively, and you have a way to get to get hold of them, you definitely want to reach out to them, because if they're actively buying other properties that you find out about, those people love to have somebody contact them and say, hey, I have killer deals and I can send them to you, or I have this other deal. Because those people most of the time aren't going to be spending their time looking for the deals. They buy the deals that are really good, that come to them, that they find through realtors or other wholesalers or something like that. They're not really actively they're not able to spend their time. They're rehabbing, they're landlording, sometimes they have jobs and they're buying these properties with their IRA money. So if you can get a hold of these people that are actively buying and you can bring them good deals, they will love you, and they will come back for more and more of these properties.
Right, exactly. All right, awesome. All right, Darren has a question here. Hi, Tim. Again, is it best to have two separate websites, a buyer and seller, or all in one website? Got different thoughts from experts. Also, what's good cheap marketing data software to keep all your information? If you are advertising for sellers, then it's best to use a separate website for sellers. If you're advertising for buyers, then use a separate website for buyers. Those are called lead generation websites. Their purpose is just to generate the leads. And then for credibility's sake, like on your business cards, when you talk to private lenders or other people, then having an all-in-one website is good, because now they can see your full business, and it looks like a much much nicer, more credibility, more full-blown website than the lead generation website that we use for sellers and when we for sellers and buyers separately. So that as far as good management software, we use FreedomSoft. It's not. It's fairly inexpensive. It's not free, obviously. But yeah, so you can use that. If you're starting out, like I suggest to just do it manually. Just write everything down in a notebook, and and just keep track of them that way. or on a like an Excel spreadsheet on a Google document. Just start with that, and then make some money. Then you can buy whatever, lead management software yeah, you can buy from there. Okay.
You can actually build a free website for both of those on Weebly.com. I don't know. Have you ever used Weebly before, Tim?
Yeah, well, I haven't used it, but I am familiar with it. Weebly.com, Weebly.com. It's a platform that allows you to make websites for free. Yeah, so you can make those lead generation websites on there for free for sure. So if you want to just go like real budget, yes, that is available to you.
Yeah, you can't get a better budget than free.
Right. All right, awesome. So next, let's talk about some of the ways to find private lenders. One of my favorite ways to find private lenders is to find private lenders are actively lending in your area right now. And the way that you can do that is by doing court record search for those private lenders. Now, for the sake of time today, because it's actually like 8:03 p.m. Central now, so we're going to go a little bit over time. Our intention was to end at 8, but we have so much information to cover, so I will go a little bit over time here. But one of the easiest ways to there's many ways, but I'll teach you two of them. One of the easiest ways to find private lenders is to find who are the active IRA custodians in your area. Like here in Houston, we have Quest IRA, who used to be part of Interest IRA, which is a national franchise, but now it's a local company. And then Equity Trust is a pretty popular one as well. So these IRA custodians is where people can I guess park their IRA money for yeah, so they can then do self-directed IRA and invest it in whatever they want to invest in. And so for example, here in Houston, I would do a court record search for Quest IRA, and it would pull me up a list of all the people that lend money out of their IRA accounts. And so I know right away those are people who are active, who are actively lending, and then from there it will also show me who borrowed those money, because then that tells me those are the rehabbers that borrow the money to rehab properties, and so those rehabbers will make good buyers for me as well, and I know that they can perform because they have proven to have used private money and have closed on deals. And then I would also do a search using those buyers' name, because they're now my competitors, and if I search their names, especially the ones that are active, I will see other people that have lent money to them that is not necessarily an IRA holder, just other private lenders that they have. So I literally can do like search for lenders, search for buyers, using this method, and have a lot, end up with like over $1 million worth of private lenders in just a few minutes of research. And so it's a pretty cool strategy. So I highly recommend that that you learn how to do that with your court record search. We'll talk about it later about the Marketing Madness event that we're doing, where we'll actually go to work and help you do these kind of search in your own business. So that way you walk out of the event with a list of private lenders as well. Okay. Another way that another way is through networking. And so going to like real estate meetings, yeah, going to real estate meetings and network with anybody that you can, and ask them, hey, yeah, are you a private lender? Are you interested in doing private lending? Are you interested in, making higher than average return on your investments? Now, of course, the disclaimer here is that you have to, do it where it's SEC compliant here, in how you approach them. But what we teach you to do is how to find them. Okay. Another way that's similar to networking, you can also buy a list of high net worth individuals, or doctors and lawyers and people who have CDs, and and you can invite them to a networking meeting where you teach them how to how to earn passive income in real estate, and people always give credibility to the guy that's teaching, right? And so if you don't know, what to teach them, you can partner up with another investor. You can, yeah, I mean, partnering up with another investor is a great way to do that. So they can teach them about how they can invest their money in real estate, and you just do the marketing of that, okay? And so, with that, I want to talk about the Marketing Madness event that we have coming up here this Friday and Saturday. So this weekend, Friday and Saturday. No, yeah. Let me look at the date here. November 30th and December 1st. And what we're doing is that on the first day, we're gonna do we're doing a bus tour, and we're gonna take you out to the properties that we currently have right now, properties that we've recently sold, properties that that we're selling, and properties that we're rehabbing. Like, get you to see, the kind of neighborhoods that we work in, get really hands-on into how we found a deal, how we negotiated it, how we found a buyer. So we really go to work and get you to learn from that perspective, because a lot of time, when you learn through books and tapes, through information, you can't retain it because you learn it from a very conceptual level. And so we want to take you out on the road so you can get to experience experientially, And then day two, we get back in. We go to a hotel, and it becomes a workshop where now we actually help you implement everything that we talked about in day one. So all the different ways to find buyers, to find sellers and buyers. We're going to go and help you implement it in your business like that day. So when you leave that day, you're going to leave with marketing for sellers that's already out there generating seller leads. Marketing for buyers that are out there generating your buyers leads, and same thing with private lenders. And so, so to learn more about the Marketing Madness event, just go to www.dodealslive.com. Dodealslive.com. It's $497, and it's like the best investments you can ever find. Okay, and to celebrate Cyber Monday. To celebrate Cyber Monday, just let us know that you were on this webinar, and we'll give you $100 discount. Okay, to join us. And so go to www.dodealslive.com and sign up for that. You guys have any questions? Go ahead, AC.
I was going to say, a lot of people, when they're asking me about this, which is what me and you talked about and why we decided to take them out on the bus and actually show them the deals in progress and how we did actual deals that we really did, is a lot of people tell me, they're like, oh, well, I know that was good a few years ago, but that's not working right now. And I can tell you right now, I am this year and last year have been my best years probably in the business since the boom of '04, and that's when everything was going, so it's going back up, and we're actually doing deals right now, and that's what I want to tell these people is, we're doing deals right now. This is really working. This is the way we're getting it done. And people still tell me, they're like, oh, well, I don't know. I just don't think the real estate's, what it used to be. And I can tell you right now that these ways that we're actually talking about, the driving for dollars, direct mail, internet leads, the way we're finding sellers here and going to show them, this is the way that I'm actually generating business right now. And we've probably generated, I know I've generated over $1 million in wholesale profits with these methods right here. These exact ways. I mean, that's I was kind of hesitant at first when you first approached me about doing this, because this is actually the way I do my business, and we're going to be giving away actual secrets and like formats and templates and strategic systems that I use in my own business, and you use, and we use together in this business. This is the way we actually do it, the way we find private lenders, the way we find buyers, the way we find sellers. And there's lots of money to be made with these exact methods right here.
Right, exactly. And yeah, I mean, this, like, I wish when I first started that something like this is available to me, right? Because I mean, it's just an incredible value. Like someone to actually, open up their, their business, and and sharing with you what's working in the business, and it's just, yeah, it's just an incredible opportunity. And not only that, but I mean to help you actually implement it, not just learning, like. We talk about like stop all the learning and let's start making money already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so yeah, I mean it's I love it. I'm biased, but I love what we do, and I love the what we bring to the marketplace. So what we're making available for you guys. So yeah, you can go to dodealslive.com to sign up. Okay, so who has questions that you want to ask us? Okay. Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, so the event is in Houston this Friday and Saturday. Okay, so for those of you who are in Houston or surrounding Houston, it's like this is a must must attend event for sure. For those of you who are outside of Houston, you guys are like you're really lucky, because you get to come and learn and go back and implement it in your area with like no competition whatsoever. You get to dominate the area very, very fast. Cool. All right. I don't see any other questions. Okay. Okay, chat said, is it still limited to 20 people? The answer is yes, chat. It is. Okay. So it is a very, a very small, small group thing that we're doing. All right. Y'all. Well, with that, we will go ahead and end this webinar for today. And so, to sign up, to sign up for the live event we're doing on Friday and Saturday, go to www.studioslife.com. Okay.
And how again do they get the Cyber Monday special? Is they just let them know?
Yeah. Well, when you go to the website tonight, and we're gonna make it available for tonight. And so when you go there, yeah, it'll show you the the Cyber Monday special, and we'll just keep it on there until tomorrow morning, and so yeah, so it's best if you just take advantage of it tonight. I'm actually on there right now, making the correction so that way it will show up for you without you having to contact us. So that's yeah. So, so you can take advantage of that tonight. Um,
Excellent.
and then okay, Sticky asked, what was driving for dollars? AC, you want to explain that real quick?
Yeah, driving for dollars is when you pick a neighborhood that you want a farm or an area, and you pretty much drive up and down the streets looking for vacant houses or distressed houses that you can go after and try to get a hold of the owners to see if they're interested in selling. Like on that one deal we did, we took a one day. It's a big neighborhood. The neighborhood we went through had like 16 sections of it, so it was a huge neighborhood. So we took a day and we drove up and down every one of the streets and wrote down all the vacant houses that we saw or houses with tall grass. And then we went and looked them up and found the owners and sent them a yellow letter. And that's pretty much what we're doing. Is driving for dollars is when you're just using your time and effort and driving to find houses that you can go after to make a profit on. And that's a really great way to start because like bandit signs is cheap, driving for dollars, pretty much it's your gas and your time that you're investing into finding these properties. And those properties are usually the ones that you're going to have the best results on because a lot of the times they're not on anybody's database. Nobody else is mailing to these owners about these houses besides you. You found a diamond in the rough, a hidden gem out there in the neighborhood. So you're really cutting down your competition and being able to go after these properties when no one else is, especially if it's because it's usually an area or you decided to go after.
Right, exactly. All right. Let me see here. Uh, okay, Steve. Okay, all right, Stephen. I'll contact you. Um, yeah, after we get off here. Cool. All right. Any other questions, y'all? Okay. All right, cool. If there's no other questions, then it's funny. Every time there's no questions, it's like one comes in, right? Okay, so let me see. Darius said, "I'm Darius. To the people that is on this webinar, the info you received today is very valuable. Thanks, guys. I was a little late signing on. Thanks." Well, thank you, Darius, for acknowledging that. I really appreciate that. It makes a difference for us to know that we're making a difference for people. So that what we
Yes,
share
definitely.
is valuable for people. So thanks. All right, cool. All right, guys. With that, I want to thank you so much for being on this webinar. I really appreciate you, and AC as well. And so, yeah, and AC, thank you, buddy, for joining me on this webinar today.
No problem. Thank you, and thank everybody for being here. It was nice to be able to share some information with y'all, and I hope to see y'all this weekend. And let's get some deals done. That's our goal.
Yep. All right, everybody. Have a good one.
All right. Good night.
Good night. Bye.